Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Mike Kollin at the School of Awesome. So this video is going to be, I guess, an amalgamation, a conglomeration of a bunch of different things, but it really all comes down to one thing: live life. You heard of the book called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyways? Well, I'm going to change that and alter that just a little bit. I'm going to say this: feel the pain and do it anyways. And I also want to say another thing. It's time to live life, and that's really what this video is about. I'm going to bring up a couple things that have been happening. I'm not going to cry. Some things that have been happening in my life for the last 10 months or so. I'm going to cut right to the chase. Before I get to that, I do want to say this. It's time to feel love too. It's time to step back into love, to allow yourself to feel love. And I want to send that message to a special lady, a young lady named Annie. See, I learned something quite a while back actually, and a lot of people are afraid. They're afraid of fear. You know, it's like they fear fear. It's an illusion, and it's easy to say, but it's harder to do. And what I've really learned this last year is there are people who are afraid of love, and to me that's kind of it's the opposite of who I am. I'm all about love. For the first time in my life, I got afraid of love because it got hurt really bad. But it didn't last that long. It really was the narcissist abuse that happened about 5-6 years ago. And for the first time in my life, I put a wall up. And I got to tell you, you feel kind of like a badass. You feel tough. And the interesting thing, I'm going to be really, really honest and upfront, is women, you know, I'm a guy, so women, they want to talk to you because you're not looking at them, you're not checking them out. You're like, nope, got the wall up, see you, adios, hasta pasta. So all of a sudden, they're trying to get you to open up. You're like, nope, not going to happen. And life, in a way, it was safe, but there was no love. And in a way, there was a sense of emptiness there because of it. And it was kind of a mixed feeling. It was like, for the first time in my life, because I've always had my walls down, open, everyone, willing to help anyone at the drop of a hat. And man, did I learn my lesson the hard way. And for the first time, I had really, really strong boundaries. I would say this is beyond boundaries, to where it was just a brick wall that you couldn't take down when you wanted to. It was a brick wall. There was no entry. There was no drawbridge, there was no doors, just a brick wall all the way around. So on the one hand, you feel emotionally safe. But on the other hand, after a couple of years, you're like, yeah, this kind of sucks. One thing I've learned about people that are empathic, people that are very spiritual, is God puts you through a lot of tests. Not necessarily tests, He wants you to learn something. He wants you to understand something. My whole life, I couldn't even fathom the thought that every single person on the planet wasn't all about love. I mean, even the devil. Well, of course it's all about love. He hides it, but it's there. And what I'm trying to say is, I've made some interesting connections with people over the years, and it really amplified 5-6 years ago, where these people had no love. They were just completely heartless. And it finally got me to see, like, wow, there are people out there that are literally that heartless. It was such an odd thing to me, because it was like my whole life was about being open-hearted and loving, and yet I had experienced so many heartless people, cold-hearted people in my life, that I just tried to make them love me. I tried to make them love me, and I learned, no, you can't do that. People either love you or they don't. Period, end of sentence. Don't go past that. If someone's not being kind to you, move on. So the development of self-love was and is the most important thing in the world, because it makes you a healthier person. When you become healthier, you begin to just naturally treat people better. You begin to react in a much more natural and healthy way. You don't have to memorize, what should I do in this? Your body goes, walk, get away. So by going through these horrendous experiences, you begin to understand other people and what they're going through, such as narcissists, such as avoidance. So for avoidance, it was such an odd thing for me to go, so wait a minute, you're trying to get me to understand that they're terrified of love, they're terrified of feeling love to the point that the minute they open up to someone, they walk away for good? So as an empath, you begin to take that on, and I did for probably 6 months or more. And it was the weirdest thing in the world, because suddenly I was walking away from anyone that opened their heart to me. It's like, nope, not going there, not going there. The reason why God puts you through these trials and, errors and terrors and pain and suffering, it's not because God wants to see you suffer. It's because God's like, look, you have to understand what it's like being in that darkness. You have to understand what they're going through, because until you understand why they are the way they are firsthand from your own experience of it, you can't help them. You don't understand them. Now, I had an experience again yesterday, less than, say, 22 hours ago. I had another surgery on my shoulder. I broke it again. I think, as I told you in the last video, I just had surgery 10 weeks ago, and I broke it the 9th week. So technically, I think it's been about 12, maybe 13 weeks ago. Now I'm going to have to actually count. So I broke it on the 9th week, 9th, 10th, 11th. Yeah, so now, 2 weeks later, I had surgery. Yes. Holy shit, it hurts. The last one hurt bad. And because this one was slightly different, I thought it was going to be better. It's not. Now you're listening to my voice, and I'm leading up to something here. This isn't just about pain, but it really is about an experience I had last night when I was probably the most intense pain. I don't want to say ever in my life, because I had this pain about 10 weeks ago for the first 7 to 12 days or through it. This pain, this is technically, I think it's my 9th operation surgery. I've broken bones. I've played so many sports and done so many. I've experienced pain. Now this was on a level unbelievable. Here's the difference between last time and this time, 10 weeks ago. I couldn't keep anything down. So the hospital, I threw up at the hospital before I left, because they were trying to get me to eat some food. I think probably to see if you can keep it down. And the pain meds are injectables through your IV. So at the very, very end, because they realized he's not doing too well, they basically loaded me up on anti-nausea. They did it twice. And then they use fentanyl. It's the hospital kind, not the street kind that's mixed with other stuff, but it's the hospital kind. They dosed me twice with that before I left, about an hour and a half before, and then again right before I walked out the door. And then they gave me a pill. I think it's oxycodone, hydrocodone, one of those. And I got home. I live about 7-8 minutes from the hospital. Walked in the door. I threw it all up. Now, the pain meds, or the fentanyl, actually it wasn't right before. The fentanyl was about an hour and a half before I left. And then they gave me one before that for about an hour, because they were trying to prepare me, to get me basically through the trip home. And the nausea medication didn't work at all. So I thought, I'm just going to sit with this for a while, and I'll take a pill in about an hour, because I think my body needs a break. Well, I thought, I'm going to drink a tall glass of water, because I was getting dehydrated. And I threw that up in 10 minutes. My body was not keeping anything down. So I thought, I'm going to wait another hour. So time's going by. And the pain's starting to really come back, really bad. So I thought, I think it's time to take a pill. And my body threw it up within, I'm guessing, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, something like that. Just completely expelled everything. And then I thought, my body's not keeping anything down. So I'm just going to listen to it and just go with the flow. And if I have pain, that's just the way it is. One of the things the nurse said before I left, she went down this list, and she goes, I can't remember the phrase, it was a catchy phrase, it's like basically get it before it starts, meaning catch it before you feel the pain. In other words, don't wait till you feel the pain, because the pain pill is going to take 30 minutes to catch up, and you're going to go through hell. So here I am reading this list, I'm like, yeah, it's been 4 or 5 hours, and the pain is getting pretty intense. So I thought, I'm going to try it again. Nope, body expelled again. So I threw up 8 times. At this point, a little bit after that, 2 hours later, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm desperate. And I call the hospital the nurse basically blew me off. I called the emergency room. She said the same thing. Well, we can't give you any prescription over the phone. And I'm like, I'm not asking for a prescription. What the fuck do I do? So I didn't say that word, but she didn't give me the chance to say what do I do in the situation. She just, we can't prescribe anything if you don't come down. And I'm kind of going, hey, I need some advice here. She wasn't having none of it and hung up the phone. And I'm thinking, well, do I call an ambulance? What do I do? So the pain was through the roof at this point. I had surgery and I'm on it. My body's, you got to understand, when I threw up 8 times, there was this mineral powder I drink in the morning. So it was about 8 or 9 hours before the surgery. So we're going back almost 24, about 20 hours. And I threw that up. Stuff in my body was just coming up. I had nothing. I was completely dehydrated. And I'm thinking, what am I going to do here? So here's the one really good thing, because the last shoulder surgery I couldn't do this. I lay down on my bed going, how am I going to get comfortable? Because the last surgery, there was no position basically. I did figure out one, turn on my left side and hold my arm over this really big pillow that I have. So it really helped a lot. But that was about the 12th or 20th day before I even figured that out. But this one was different. I could lay on my back and the pain, essentially as long as I didn't move, went away. So essentially, I had to become a meditation master. Now, you think I'm joking? I'm not. I had to basically almost not breathe. Now, you hear about going into the Zen state. Well, there's something that I call emotional grounding techniques. It's a series of techniques that I teach. And so the first thing I did, I actually started doing ha breathing. So I did do breathing, but I had to do it in a rhythmic way. So I did feel some of the pain, but what happened was I do a series of techniques. Ha breathing is one of them, and then I go into an internal grounding technique, then another, then another. I'm dropping down. Here's what happened. So one of the ways that you heal your emotional pain is by going through the pain. Because if you avoid it, it's still there. It can't heal until you nurture it. It can't heal until you, now listen closely, until you open up to it. So a lot of people that practice the Zen meditation and stuff, they're not actually doing it the right way. Because you watch them, you listen to them, they're very intellectual, they're stuck on the forehead, their eyes are focused. That's the opposite of being in, and I don't like to use the phrase Zen, and if you've noticed, I don't think I've ever used that phrase on this channel. So a lot of people really misunderstand what it means to be Zen or to be conscious. They think it's about controlling your thoughts. You got to control. No, you have to completely let them go. When you think it's about being disciplined, you're doing it the wrong way. It's like a balloon, a balloon with a helium in it. You let go of the string completely and it floats away. That's what you want to do, because what it's doing is it's allowing the energy to expand. When you're in your logic, when you're controlling, it's concentrated, hard energy. And that's what causes the pain, the physical and emotional. That's what causes the stress. You know how all of a sudden a thought will come up and it goes up. See, if you don't meditate, this is a thought you're like, what are you talking about? Imagine there's a little spinning ball. And it's outside of you, it's in your body somewhere, and it goes right up into your forehead, gets stuck in your ajna or your third eye, and now everything becomes that. Your whole personality shifts. It's because you're focused and you're concentrated and you're locked on this little tiny thought. But the whole world becomes that. It's an illusion. You have to learn to expand your awareness all the way out and let it go like the helium balloon. And what will happen when you're in sadness, hurt, pain, fear, any negative state, it begins to dissolve. Exactly like when you pour sugar into hot water or warm water. It dissolves and becomes one. Instead of this concentrated crystallization. When something is crystallized, that's where the pain comes. When you dissolve it, the pain disappears. And now you feel good. Your energy begins to flow. And that's where you get your power from. So last night I was utterly exhausted. I only got about 4 or 5 hours sleep, if that, before the operation. It was the first surgery where I was actually nervous. I had never been nervous, going to surgery, but I did my grounding techniques. They had me laying on the bed. It was about 2 hours before the surgery. They're prepping me and, ask me questions. And as usual, when I'm stressed out, I go into these grounding techniques. Now, here's the difference. You are not escaping the pain. You're going into the pain. In this case, I was going into the illusion of fear. So while I was in the hospital, I went into that space and boom, my energy relaxed, it let go and expanded, and the fear went away. And that's the point. So I had this pretty long day, exhausting day, had surgery on my shoulder. Very painful operation. I'm home. I'm not keeping any meds down. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I am utterly at my wits' ends. I'm desperate. I'm getting scared again. And the pain is just shooting through the roof because my body's not keeping any of the medicine down. So luckily I find a position where I can just stay still and the pain subsides, at least while I'm there. So what do? I go into a deep, deep emotional grounding state. I used one technique and then another. And what happens is when you really, really now here's the thing. It's like, a lot of times when I'm scared or uptight or nervous or stressed, it's like you clench down in your solar plexus or your heart or your forehead or your throat, and you tighten up, and that just makes it spin and spin and spin and spin. It gets worse and worse and worse. So the discipline is learning how to do the techniques first and practicing and practicing and practicing. See, a lot of you think, oh, well, I took this class, we did it one time. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand what we're doing it for. Yeah, whatever. Because you didn't practice enough to get to the point to where you're stressing out, you don't know what you're going to do, you don't have the money, you're going to go homeless. What am I going to do? That's when you do the techniques, and that's when you let go. Now here's the interesting thing. Whenever I completely ground myself in the hospital, all of a sudden, all the energy shifts. The nurses loosen up. Everyone's happy. They treat you really well because they're feeling good. And you're like this source of light. So you can do it at a restaurant. You can do it wherever you want. And it helps other people to open up and feel good inside. So I want to say something real quick. I absolutely love my doctor. The surgeon is just the best guy. He's a great person, great doctor, sharp. His entire staff, his PAs, his secretaries, the people that work for him, and the nurses at the hospital. It was just such a, not only this time, but the last time I went to the same hospital. Just an awesome experience. Very beautiful people. I want to say more, but I'm kind of getting off track here, but I just want to say I think all of you guys are great. If any of you happen to hear this, just know that I really appreciate the work that you do. I think it's awesome. You want to know what it is? My doctor's cool. He's cool as fuck. So is the anesthesiologist. This one and the last one and the nursing staff. It's just, the atmosphere is just amazing. It's awesome. So Annie, if you're still listening, there's more to come. No, not that way. So I want to say this real quick. Be a badass. Fuck it. Why not? Just be a badass in life. I don't mean go around hurting people or being rude or mean, but just stand up for yourself when people try to step on your toes. Do what you want in life. Go for it. Fuck what other people think. Just be a badass and just go for it. Have fun doing it too. No, ladies, that's not what I meant. You know what I meant. Or did you? Or do you? Which one is it? Okay, let's get back into it. Alright, so here's the deal. Last night I was in excruciating pain, exhausted. I mean, this pain, like, it is the sharpest pain, ma'am. I'm not going to go too much in depth in that, but ma'am, trust me, this is something I wouldn't wish on anyone. So I laid down in bed, and I didn't mean to do any emotional grounding technique or internal awareness techniques, but it got to such an extreme point where the one thing I was doing, I was just trying to stay still, and that caused me to go into this deep, deep state of complete relaxation and letting go. Sorry, and letting go. And yes, by the way, these are two of my books, Why Men Just Don't Get It and Every Woman's Battle, The Need for Love and Emotional Fulfillment. Ladies, these books were written for you. They're very, very inexpensive. They're $11 each. They are worth it. Trust me, read those books and the answers you've been looking for will be revealed. And they're not very long. They're like 70 plus pages each. Something like that each. So here's what happened. I began to ground myself. I began to do one of the techniques and I worked deeper and deeper with it, etc., etc. And all of a sudden, man, it's like, see, here's the deal. When you do it right, there's going to be like this pop. You know, it's not a pop feeling, but it's like, whoa, like everything shifts. I mean, there is a grand shift. I don't care if you've got a broken leg. When you access this space, all pain goes away. I'm going to tell you something. All pain, when my bruises on my chest, you know, I got a dislocated rib, just gone. My shoulder pain, gone. The best way to explain it is like it's the dissolving of your energy, the crystallization, the hard, rock solid crystallization with sharp point. It's just gone. Your body feels, man, how to explain this? Now, when I say expansion, a lot of people will be like, oh, so it's like expanding pressure. No, there's no pressure. There's zero pressure. There's zero negativity. It's just pureness. It's bliss. It's nothingness, yet it's everything. See, it's kind of an odd thing because your power comes from finding that space of absolute nothingness. You completely let go of control. And that's where you can create. Now, something really interesting happened. So let's kind of go through the step and then I'll get to what happened. So I entered this, call it this, you know, it's a magical place. Let's use that phrase. A lot of people do drugs to have even a momentary split second of this experience, like wow, for like 3 seconds. This lasted for over an hour. Now here's the kind of funny or interesting twist is, in order for me, now here's the deal, I really didn't care about grounding myself. It was like I was in so much pain, I wanted to feel better, and there is no better feeling than this space that I'm trying to describe to you that can only be experienced by truly practicing and developing this series of skills. Drugs will never get you there. They really won't. It's a mucky, slushy, it's not clear. When you do it this way, you have absolute clarity. And yes, men, this book, Cracked Female Code, I wrote for you guys. It's a 500-page book that will help you really, really understand women for dating, relationships, saving your marriage, romance, love, and a form of right brain female seduction, the kind that women are aware of and they wish men would do. Okay, now this is funny because my coach posted this just the other night when I posted how much pain I was in. I posted the pictures of my head, like the video that you saw. I think the last video or the video before that. He said something about Mike Tyson. He had a conversation. Mike said, you know, you have to take the pain. He said, you have to take the pain. So if you want to win in life, if you want to move forward in life, you have to take the pain and do it anyways. Yeah, my coach, he hangs out with a lot of famous people. He hangs out with Floyd Mayweather and his father. He wraps people's hands at their training center in Las Vegas. He hangs out with Chuck Norris, well, he used to. He's around the top people. Here's the thing. You can do anything in life. If number one, you have the will, you have the reason, you have the desire. Number two, be willing to take more pain than anyone else on the planet. You will succeed. That's the way life works. Now here's the deal. What I'm saying though, how to explain this? That experience I had last night when I was at my wit's end, when I just couldn't take the pain anymore, I didn't run away from it. I went into it because that's how you heal it. That's how you get the energy to disperse. It seems counterintuitive, but when you reconnect with these parts of yourself that have been separated that, see, they become stressful, they become physically painful. Let me put it this way. When you work, okay, here's the deal. When you work with me, you will experience this eventually throughout the sessions that we're working through. When you pop open, I'll know it. You won't have to say a word to me. I'll know it before you do, because you're going to be like, whoa, what is this? It's an experience that you've been looking for your entire life. It is the journey that is the purpose and the reason why you came here to the planet. You're trying to find this space, and I'll show you how. I want to use the word awareness, but it's not quite what it is. But I'm going to use the word for now. When your awareness expands to the outer edges, the complete extent of the universe, without any borders, that's when you get there. So here's the deal. I had road rash like you wouldn't believe. If you saw that, I think it was the last video or the video before that, I showed you the road rash images in my accident. And it's completely gone. Like literally, there's only 2 different spots that has a tiny, tiny little bit of a red scab. And the other ones are like just smooth skin. So yesterday was the 14th day, because that was a Friday. So it was 2 Fridays ago. Today's Saturday. And if you would have looked at it yesterday or even the day before, you're like you almost can't tell that even was an accident. Here's my message. This expansion awareness technique, this internal awareness technique, it helps your body to heal. It helps you heal your emotions. It allows the energy to flow so it can cleanse out the old and bring in new energy. And this includes your cardiovascular system. This includes your arteries and your veins. When you're tight, everything is restricted, so you can't cleanse out the old nutrients that need to be, pushed out of your body. You can't bring in new healthy energy. When you learn how to completely relax, well, cancer goes away. What does cancer cause from? Restriction. When you have restriction, tightness in your body, when it's stuck there for years and years and years, well, guess what's going to happen? Not good things. When you get the restriction to completely dissolve like sugar in warm water, everything begins to flow, and the newness brings fresh energy, healing, and cleanliness. It makes life a wonderful place, mentally, emotionally, physically, energetically, spiritually. Life just becomes more wonderful. Now here's the other deal. Most people use words like Zen state, and all this meditation. They don't know how to enter this space. They don't know how to truly meditate. They don't truly know how to enter the Zen state. Now here's the deal. That state I entered last night through all the pain, that's the space where you manifest from. Here's the other thing. When you learn how to do this, you begin to see yourself from other people. What do I mean by that? A lot of times you get caught up in other people's energy. It has nothing to do with you. But they yell at you. They say, oh, you're this. Oh, you pissed me off. That's their energy. That is all their energy. When you truly learn how to do this and practice and develop it, number one, you become aware of your own separate parts that are separate from you. You become it's like almost like a little marble or spinning ball that's right in front of you, to the right, to the left, up, down. And you become very aware of it. So instead of getting caught up inside it, and now it becomes your illusion of the world, like you think, oh, this is who I am. No, that's not who you are. That's just a part of you that needs to integrate and dissolve back into you like sugar that dissolves in warm water and becomes at one with you. That's what these techniques are for. It's to heal you mentally. It's to heal you emotionally. The reason why I tell people I am a specialist in healing people emotionally, in emotional healing, because this is how you do it. All right, here's the best way to explain it. When you're in this space, there is zero restriction. There's zero negativity. There's zero conflict. That's what I'm looking for. There's no conflict. There's no either or. There's no good or bad. It's just complete neutrality. There's no border. Because there's no hard border. There's no contrast. There's just purity. That's the best word. Okay, see this image right here? You wouldn't be able to see it because there's no contrast. There would be no light. There would be no dark. There just is space. Just void. It's the void of nothingness. Once you enter this space, you can create anything. You become the light. You become the dark. It's not either light or dark. You become both. You become an unbelievably warm and loving being, a spacious and expanded being, who also has the ability to go into the darkness, to be strong, to stand up for yourself, to do whatever it takes to make it happen. This confuses a lot of people because we are coming out of darkness. We are literally coming out of the Dark Ages. We were lied to and told, oh, the Dark Ages were like 1,000 years ago. No, they weren't. We just started coming out of the Dark Ages after 2001. Maybe it was around 2012. See, this whole either or mentality is darkness, and this is the left brain. It's when you're stuck in the left brain. That's why in the book of Genesis, it talks about don't eat of the tree of knowledge. That's the logical brain, because when you get stuck there, everything becomes either or, right or wrong, good or bad, and there's more options than just two. There's millions, trillions, gazillions of options and possibilities. When you enter that space, you've made it. See, narcissists are the extreme of either or thinking. It's either A or it's B, and that's it. There's no other possibility. This is the darkness. It's literally living inside a box with walls all the way around you, a roof on your head. There's no windows. There's nothing else. So the illusion is, okay, everything inside this is reality. No, that's a limited, an extremely limited reality. There's much more to go. The first thing you do is you tear down that wall between A and B. Now it's A and B. The moment you do that, everything starts to build and build and build, like adding pieces to a puzzle. And this is what internal awareness does. It tears down the wall between the left brain and the right brain, which is what the book of Genesis was talking about. Now, a lot of men, when I work with them, I explain this concept of opening up your right brain. They're really hesitant. They're really nervous. Because they think, oh, once I transition over, I can never go back. That's either or thinking. And I noticed a while, like a lot of my clients were real hesitant and they would hold back on doing the tech. I'm like, dude, what do you, and I'd get frustrated, like, do the damn techniques. And they wouldn't practice. They wouldn't practice with me. They were kind of watching me from an angle. I'm like, what's going on? Finally, one client goes, well, so once I go over, I can't go back to my logical brain. I'm like, oh God, if only it was that simple. Because once you enter this world of bliss, you'll never want to go back to that cage, and that's when you're going to realize, holy shit, I was in a cage. You were brainwashed to put in that cage. But here's the deal: yes, you can go back. See, once you tear this wall down, you can go left and right. That's the point. You get to choose. Now you're free to choose. At any moment in time, you can switch. And you can be both at the same time. It's fluid. There's no restrictions. There's no holding you back. There's doing A and B. You can also do A or B. See, it doesn't mean now you can never do or. It means now you have everything else also. So an avoidant is someone who has mastered the art of protecting their heart. This is a good thing, because guess what empaths don't do? We don't protect our hearts. That's something I've had to work on very, very, very hard for a long time. Yet at the same time, I didn't want to close off from my heart and my love. I want to be open-hearted. The one lesson I have finally mastered, I finally learned, I finally get versus, my neighbor lady was saying these phrases and we were laughing because she's older than me. And she's just like, well, Michael, you can't, there's time to have boundaries and time, and I said, if you had said that to me when I was probably 20 years ago, I would look, oh yeah, sure, not even knowing that I didn't understand what you're saying. She starts laughing, oh, I know. She goes, it took me forever to get that. The point being, Annie, it's time to learn how to open up to your heart and allow people in. You have to learn how to find the right people. and I'll show you how. See, having the ability to put up boundaries and put up walls, that's not a bad thing. But here's the deal. If you're a person, whether you're right brain or keyword or left brain, either or A or B, if you're an either or A or B person, you're thinking, well, no, the right brain's the best one. And then the left person goes, no, the left brain's the best one, so this is where I'm going to stay. I'm saying they're both the best one, especially when you combine them together. That's where you get your power from. It's about having more options and more possibilities and more capabilities, more tools in the toolbox. The more the better, the more the merrier, the more the power, the more the freedom. I teach people how to step into their power, how to have freedom over their life, freedom, choice, and power. That's what I do for a living. I make you awesome. So Annie, it's time for you to begin opening up to your heart, to your love. So you can have both. You've developed strength, you've developed power, you've developed the ability to put the wall up. Those are good skills. They're going to help you for the rest of your life. You run into mean people, boom, let the wall go up. I get it, I respect it, I understand it. Now it's time to learn how to open it up to people that work with you, that flow with you, that make you feel good. For those of you who are wondering who Annie is symbolic for you. My neighbor lady, by the way, she had the same operation I had a couple years ago, and she was talking about the pain, and she was, what's going on with you? You saw my sling? It's like, I had the same surgery. She's like, really? When? I go, yeah. She was, yesterday? You look great. You would, honestly, if I took the sling off, you wouldn't know that I had surgery yesterday. You'd have no idea that I only got about 4 hours sleep last night, and then I didn't sleep at all the night before. Actually, the night before I did sleep, I got about 5.5, 6 hours of very nervous up and down sleep. I look great. I feel great. I'm happy. I'm in a lot of pain, but life is awesome. You can be happy. But you have to take the steps. You have to learn how to truly do the stuff, and you're going to have to develop it and practice and practice and practice and practice. So when a stressful time comes along, whether it's emotional stress, financial stress, relationship stress, physical pain, stress on your body, actual pain, you can use the techniques and get absolute effective results. Create an awesome life. Go to MikeKollin.com. See you in the next video. Bye.